Okay, we are back, and we're still. What I've done is to send another link to Glory. The previous one failed. As you saw, it just kind of froze up, and I'm kind of waiting on him to come back. So let me remind everybody. First of all, let me welcome some folks. Canton Tweet is here tonight. Thank you for joining us, Gina. Also, Diana Sharples, who, by the way, will be our guest live Thursday night. Okay, about 9:30. Look forward to that. And also Felicia is here. Guess when she will be on Thursday night? And I see that we have hopefully a new connection there. Nope, thought I had him. There he is. All righty, let's try this again, sir. And we'll get back to the chat room hopefully in a little bit. Okay. Glory. Help me pronounce that last name. I did it earlier, but I don't know if I did it right.
The last name is Ndongala.
Ndongala. No, I didn't do so bad.
Yeah.
Not bad at all. Not bad at all. Okay, we got to go quick now because we lost some time there. Don't tell me your life story, but bring us up to speed. You were born in the Congo, and just bring us up. Bring it, and I want to hear more about that Dr. Pepper thing.
Yes, so I was born in the Congo, escaped a tyrant by the name of Mobutu. He was trying to kill our family, and that's kind of how we got to the country. There's more involved in between that, but by the grace of God, we were able to come to America, and this is why I'm a big, big fan of the United States of America. Like, I don't understand why people complain about the country. You know, when you've had to use outhouses and you were terrified when you were young and all this stuff. Even the clean water, the toilet, to me, I'm very thankful for these things. You know, there's a lot more to be thankful for than to complain about, I would say, in America. And I find it rather sad. Sorry, I had to say this, but I find it sad when Trump gets compared to a tyrant. When you've lived under a tyrant who's killed millions of people, then you can kind of come and talk to me about what a tyrant is like. Getting into the Dr. Pepper thing, my dad ended up leaving my family when I was about 14, so I had to kind of figure out a way to go to school by the grace of God. I was able to go to Southwestern Assemblies of God University by faith. My youth pastor literally sent me one-way ticket to the school. I went there, didn't have enough funds, and every semester God miraculously provided for me. It started off with a $10,000 scholarship from Kentucky Fried Chicken. Mm-hmm. I was working there for a year, and just witnessing to my boss and really just living life with him. He ended up introducing me to this scholarship, and I ended up applying for the scholarship, and I won the scholarship. It was $10,000. So I was able to take that to the school. It broke up into semester, but every year I would owe a certain amount, and pretty much every semester except for one, God provided. And I have so many different miracles, which I discuss about in my book. But one of the major ones was the Dr. Pepper Scholarship. I ended up meeting a friend of mine, and I came back one day. My heart is to go back to my country and help build self-sustaining orphanages. And so I ended up talking to my friend, and my friend's like, hey, Dr. Pepper is giving away $1 million worth of tuition money. All you got to do is do a video, talk about what you want to do with your life, and talk about Dr. Pepper. And so on that very moment, I went outside, and I was like, hey, let's record. It was one of those little tiny iPod things back in the day. We recorded a video, 1 minute long. We made a Dr. Pepper blow up in the background, and my catchphrase was Dr. Pepper, explosive, baby. And so, but I talked about going to the Congo. I pretty much just shared my faith in this 1 minute video. I want to go back, build, these orphanages and all this stuff. And out of 9,000 videos, they picked 5. I was one of the 5 that they picked. They ended up taking us to the new Dallas Stadium and all of that. And we get to compete right there It was during the Cotton Bowl. I was one of those people which throw the footballs, at halftime. And so I actually almost died in Montana. Right now, I'm in Montana. This is where I was training. And I remember I was training in one of these garages, and they put one of those heaters. I didn't know, but they're heaters with gas in them, And yeah, so I'm practicing for this thing, right, in this garage, and I get tired, and I'm like, I'm gonna sleep. I was about to sleep, and I sat down right next to the heater, and I was about to lay down, and my wife calls me. Now, her work, look at God. Her work never let her out, ever. Never let her out early. And she calls me on that day. They let her out 3 hours early. They don't even know why. She calls me. So right when I was about to fall asleep next to the gas, she calls me. I pick up the phone, and she's like, hey, could you come and pick me up? I go and I pick her up, and I'm driving back, and I'm not saying a word. So she's like, there's something wrong with this guy. We get to the place. She walks into the garage, and the smell of carbon monoxide just hits her in the face. And she's like, whoa, what's going on? And I'm like, I got to keep training. I got to win this $100,000. And she's like, there's something wrong with you. And she's like, there's gas here. Now, I never make crude jokes ever. And I made a joke right when she said that. I said, I was always told that it's better out than in. Mm-hmm. And when she heard me say that about the gas, she called her dad. She said, okay, that's it. I'm calling my dad, and I'm calling the ambulance. There's something wrong with you. But I end up going to this Dr. Pepper thing, and I go to the finals with this lady, and I'm competing. I told myself not to look at the other opponent, and while we're going, I end up looking at the opponent, and she had her hair down, and she was throwing like a mad woman, and everything she was putting in there was going in. And I try to catch up, and I missed 3 in a row, and then we start going back and forth, 10-10, 11-11, 12-12, 13-13, and she ends up winning this $100,000. I took second place, and I won $23,000, which helped me to zero out everything that I owed at the school. I remember going to the financial aid lady, and she was laughing. She said, I never thought this day would come. And she printed out the paper, and it said zero, that I owed $0 to the school. It was just the grace of God. And I have so many different countless miracles that God did. But I'm just blessed to be in America, and I'm thankful to be able to know the Lord, to know Jesus as my Savior. So,
okay, two spiritual lessons come to mind here. One is you took your eye off the prize. But the second one, and you thought about that because you shared it with me earlier, but the second one is, what do you suppose would have happened if you would have won 100,000?
Man, I think everything that I've learned so far, that's brought me here, even the book that I've written, I don't think I would have written my book. I think it would have taken me a different route. You'd
have bought yourself a nice car. You'd have enjoyed what the world has to offer, and
probably
it might have taken you off of your journey that God had set for you. I still think you should have won, but nonetheless, I'm not normally proud of second place finishes, but I am proud of what you did and what you did with it. Now, in the short time we have remaining, you somewhere along the line decided to write a book. What's up with that?
So after going through graduating at SAGU, I went to different churches and just was doing ministry and stuff. And me and my wife just encountered a lot of different things in the churches which were really painful. So I tell different stories in the book of not just our story, but different people's story. But I change different names, etc., because I really want to protect the people and still be honoring with the way that I go about this. But one of the major things that I found was I believe the major thing plaguing the church today is immaturity. I don't think everybody is just evil and out to get everybody in the church, but I think there's a lot of spiritual immaturity. And I think that's what perpetuates this pain in a lot of people's lives. And so, from all the different experiences people have had, I wrote this book here. And what I did is I prayed and I asked the Lord, I said, why is the church so immature? And the Lord took me to Ephesians 4, and it really talks about the fivefold ministry and how these gifts were there so that the church can mature into manhood, right? And so I started writing a book, and it's more than just about, apostle, pastor, prophet. The book has 41 chapters. It's about every single gift in the Bible. I went through commentaries. I went through Hebrew, Greek. I made sure my professor, Dr. Gary Royer, oversaw everything while I was going through it, and the dean of the school, Dr. Scott Camp, as well. So that way I made sure I was doing things biblical. But I went through every single gift. There's stories in there to make it's not just a theological book, but there's also stories where you can connect in your own life. I also deal with the different personalities that we have. So I talk about like a feeler and a thinker, for instance, and how the gifts may flow in these different individuals. If somebody is gifted in a different way and they may be a feeler, they may be able to hear God differently than somebody who may process things through their mind. But that's okay. And I think we all just have to mature in our personality and who God's called us to be, and we won't be able to harm each other.
Now, how old are you when you wrote this book?
I just wrote this. It took me a year to write it. It was last year is when I started. So I'm 31 years old. So yeah, it was just last year is when I started writing the book. I actually wrote 2 books this year. My other one will come out in December. And that one is a 3-part series. It's called My Hand's Journey. It's more of a fictional book about under the Sea of Galilee, about a fish. So that's a 3-part book. And I kind of take what's going on in Israel and I make it to a fish level to kids could understand it, adults could understand it. And I tell this story of this fish called my hand. But yeah, by the grace of God, it's only God. It's only by God, because English is my 3rd language. There's no way I could have written this book if not for His grace.
You've done well, Glory. I don't know if it's possible. I wanted to share with everybody out there. When we do these, we have like a dry run. We did this yesterday, and I was able to see other parts of your home, and it looked to me like there was something painted on the wall. As for me and my house,
there's a verse right here. It's actually 1 Thessalonians 5:16 through 18, and it says, Be joyful always, pray continually, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is God's will for you in Christ Jesus.
Folks, how many of you, I just challenge you, hear this young man. Most of the people watching this are probably old enough to be your father, including myself. How many of us take our walk with the Lord serious enough to paint something like that on our walls? I'm impressed, Glory. I'm really, really proud of what you've done. Now, we got to wrap it up, but tell me, you keep mentioning about your ultimate vision that you feel called to do is maintain some orphanages in your home country of Congo. Is that the purpose of writing these books, is used to repurpose those profits for that?
Yes, I want to write this book because I still have loans, me and my wife. We want to pay off our loans. I think it's like $100,000 worth of loans from school because my wife got her master's in social work. And so we've been trying to figure out some way to make funds to pay off our loans, and it would free us because we're called to do missions. We're called to go wherever God sends us. And so even my book, the Spanish version will come out in December this year. I actually wanted to go in multiple languages so that way it can help equip people.
So you speak your native tongue from Congo, you speak
Yes.
Spanish, and you speak English.
No, my first language is French.
French.
From Belgium, Congo. So French was my first language. Unfortunately, I haven't had too many people to speak it with. But when I'm talking with somebody, it comes back. And I also speak Lingala, which is my native language there in the Congo. I read and write in Lingala. I practice that almost every single day. Because I even reading my Bible in Lingala, there's some scripture verses which I want to help change, not like change, but knowing, getting a better understanding of the Hebrew and the Greek. I just want to help change the way that they've presented it in those Bibles from past, long time ago. There's certain things that they've missed out in Lingala. So I've been really practicing so I can help out in that.
Talk for about 2 more minutes. I have to send an email to Dale Didway. How long? Tell us about your professional career. What's your day job? Do you have one?
I was actually helping with the church plant in Cut Bank, Montana. I helped write the bylaws for the church and stuff, and the foundations for that, which kind of helped me to get an understanding of the church structure. And from one of the churches that I was at before, the bylaws were just some of the problems which I ran into in different churches is that the bylaws are sometimes overdue or out overdue, if that's the word.
Well, wonders never cease. I didn't do that, but nonetheless, what we're going to do is we're going, unfortunately, have to wrap it up. Maybe we'll have Glory come back one evening. What an encouragement! What an exciting story from such a young man. I wish I would have been that on fire for the Lord at his age. What about you? Continuing in the chat room, we have Doug Carter here with us. We've got Felicia, which I mentioned earlier, who will be with us, according to my handwritten notes, Thursday evening at 9 p.m. Gloria is with us. Hazards 4. Hey, tune in Friday nights for Hazards 4. He runs a show that night. By the way, Friday night we will have at 9:30 Julie Lavender. Okay. And we'll probably have some more. Folks, there is so much that I want to share with you going on. I'm just, as you can tell, I'm like an octopus on roller skates here, trying to make everything happen. Glad to do it. Glad so many people have made it their business to be here tonight. Welcome to our new guest. We will have Dale Didway coming up in just a moment. I'll need a few minutes to set everything up for him. So, Sunbelt Girl, if you would stand by, play us a couple of good inspirational videos. Enjoy the chat. We will have Dale Didway as PJ Net Live continues in just a few minutes.